Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. What makes Ayatul Kursi so powerful that it's called the greatest verse in the Quran? Discover how a single verse can both guard you from harm and bring you closer to paradise. What is Ayatul Kursi? Ayatul Kursi, the throne verse, is the 255th verse of Surah Al-Baqarah. It is known as the greatest verse in the Quran and is recited daily by Muslims around the world as a means of protection from evil. Ayatul Kursi is memorized by Muslim children at a young age due to its importance and key teachings. Memorizing, understanding, and often reciting this important verse of the Quran is an important act of worship. Ayatul Kursi English translation: Allah, there is no God worthy of worship except Him, the ever-living, all-sustaining. Neither tiredness nor sleep overtakes Him. To Him belongs whatever is in the heavens and whatever is on the earth. Who could possibly intercede with Him without His permission? He knows what is ahead of them and what is behind them, but no one can grasp any of His knowledge except what He wills. His seat encompasses the heavens and the earth, and the preservation of both does not tire Him. For He is the highest, the greatest. Surah Al-Baqarah 2:255. The primary theme of Ayatul Kursi. Ayatul Kursi summarizes some of the core beliefs and principles of Islamic monotheism. It introduces the attributes of Allah and the methodology of understanding these attributes. Ayatul Kursi teaches us that there is only one true God, Allah, who alone is worthy of worship. Allah is perfect in His names and attributes. He does not sleep, nor does He get tired. He controls and knows everything, and nothing can happen unless He wills it. There is nothing like Allah, and His attributes are unique and perfect. Ayatul Kursi also reminds us that only Allah can protect us from all evil. He is perfect, never sleeps, and controls everything. Therefore, all protection is from Him alone. Ayatul Kursi serves a dual purpose of being an affirmation of the key beliefs of Islam and a protection prayer that we are recommended to recite daily. Why is it called the greatest verse in the Quran? There is some debate regarding whether we can refer to some passages of the Quran as more virtuous than others. The different opinions on this have been covered in detail by Sheikh Youssef Wahb in his paper, Are Some Quranic Verses More Virtuous Than Others? Reconciling diverse scholarly views. Keeping in mind the predominant view that some verses are greater than others, Ayatul Kursi is the greatest verse of the Quran as per the following narrations. Ubay ibn Kabi reported that the Messenger of Allah said, "O Abu Mundir, do you know which verse in the Book of Allah with you is greatest?" I recited the verse of the throne, Allah, there is no God but Him, the living, the sustainer, 2:255. The Prophet struck me on the chest, saying, "By Allah, O Abu Mundir, rejoice in this knowledge." A Muslim 8:10. Abu Huraira reported that the Messenger of Allah said, "Everything has a summit, and the summit of the Quran is Surah Al-Baqarah. It contains a verse which is the chief of the Quran, the verse of the throne." Sunan al-Tirmidhi 28:78. These narrations indicate that Ayatul Kursi is the greatest verse of the Quran. This is because it summarizes the most important beliefs of Islam and is an extremely powerful means of protection as well. Surah Al-Baqarah is listed here as the summit of the Quran because it contains Ayatul Kursi. Surah Al-Baqarah is an explanation of the core teachings of Islam, and Ayatul Kursi encompasses the most important lesson of them all. The benefits of Ayatul Kursi. There are many narrations that indicate the virtues of Ayatul Kursi. Besides being called the chief of the Quran and the greatest verse in the Quran, it is also a means of protection from harm, a daily protection prayer, a means of ruqya, spiritual protection from jinn, evil eye, and magic, and a means through which people enter paradise. The following narrations serve as evidence for these virtues. Abu Huraira reported that the Messenger of Allah entrusted me to protect the charity of Ramadan. Someone came to me and began taking from the food. I took hold of him, and I said, "I will certainly take you to the Messenger of Allah." Abu Huraira told the story to the Prophet, saying, "The man told me that when I go to bed, I should recite the verse of the throne. Allah will appoint a protector over me, and no devil will come near me until morning." The prophet said, "He told you the truth, although he is a liar." That was Satan. Al-Bukhari 50:10. In the above narration, we learn that Ayatul Kursi is a protection prayer that keeps people safe from evening to morning and vice versa. It is therefore recommended to recite it early each morning, usually after Fajr, and in the early evening, after Asr or Maghrib prayers. In this narration, Abu Huraira catches a devil trying to steal from the treasury. The devil teaches him this prayer in exchange for his freedom. In any other case, something that the devil teaches would be considered suspicious, but here the prophet confirms that he spoke the truth, despite being a liar. So we act on this hadith, not because of what the devil said, but because the prophet confirmed that this specific statement is true. The Messenger of Allah said, "Whenever it is recited in a home, the devil flees therefrom." That verse is Ayatul Kursi. Al-Targhib, Volume 2, page 370. It is also narrated that the devils flee from homes in which Surah Al-Baqarah is recited. A Muslim 780. As Ayatul Kursi is the most important verse in Surah Al-Baqarah, it suffices to chase away the devils in many cases. This makes Surah Al-Baqarah, and specifically Ayatul Kursi, an important ruqya. Ruqya refers to anything that is recited to ward off devils, magic, and evil eye. If someone feels the presence of devils or magic in their homes, it is advisable to recite Ayatul Kursi frequently to ward off the evil presence. If this does not work, then try reciting the entire Surah Al-Baqarah for a stronger ruqya. Best times to recite Ayatul Kursi. Ayatul Kursi should be part of our daily recitations. There are ideally 2 sets of timings daily in which we should recite Ayatul Kursi. It should be recited after every obligatory prayer, as per the following narration. Abu Umamah reported that the Messenger of Allah said, "Whoever recites the verse of the throne after every prescribed prayer, there will be nothing standing between him and entry into paradise but his death." Al-Mujam al-Asa Lilabarn 8068 Grade, Sahih. Reciting Ayatul Kursi after every prayer is a means of entering into paradise. Ayatul Kursi should also be recited every morning after Fajr and evening after Asr or Maghrib as a means of daily protection. This is understood from the earlier narration by Abu Huraira and stated in the following narration as well. The Messenger of Allah said, "Whoever says this when he rises in the morning will be protected from devils until he retires in the evening, and whoever says it when retiring in the evening will be protected from them until he rises in the morning." Al-Hakim 1. 562, Grade, Sahih. Ayatul Kursi is one of the most important verses in the Qur'an. It is known as the greatest verse in the Qur'an and should be memorized, understood, and often recited. It serves as a daily means of protection from worldly harm, and also as a means of protection from unseen sources of harm, devils, magic, evil eye. Furthermore, reciting it after every prayer leads to paradise.